Hello everybody and welcome to the Holoverse. My name is Ringer and I told you guys on the Sunday stream that we'd be going over the alt count, talking about what we've done so far and the road ahead. So let's go ahead and get into that. Alright, so let's first take a look at the roadmap. As you guys can see, this is kind of where we're overall going towards. We already started farming Phoenix, which is part of my week 1 map. And it's actually kind of mapped for week 1 through 4. You're going in week 1. You're unlocking the Phoenix Squadron through either Cantina. You'll get access to Arena. You'll get Chopper through the. Well, you know, let's just go ahead and pull up week 1 then. Week 1. So we'll be going after Chopper from the Cantina shipments. You have Zeb and Kanan. Kanan, if you unlock into an arena shard, a brand new shard, you should be able to get a pretty good amount of shards to him. I unlocked somewhere about 12,000 and was able to fight my way up to, I think we're sitting about 3 right now. But we were sitting about 4 for a little while. So we've been getting about 500 shards a day, actually 700 if you count the 200 you get from the daily quest. So that was enough to get our Kanan to 7 stars within week 4. Your first 7-star is going to be one of Hera and Ezra, and that's due to the acceleration of the note or the shards. So if you guys don't remember, back in I believe it was November or October, CG doubled the number of shards for what they call accelerated characters. So that means any character who is older than a year, you are eligible for 2 shards instead of 1. So with the Phoenix squad being an older squad, it makes them the perfect target, and because they're so spread out across different areas, you're not overlapping outside of Hera and Ezra. And honestly, those are going to be your fastest farms anyway. So the reason we decided to go Phoenix is kind of really simple. Our roadmap for the first phase of this account is based on getting Commander Luke early. To do that, we want to go the most efficient way possible, and through that is getting Palpatine and Thrawn for R2, getting R2 while we're farming for Princess Leia, Han Solo, or Raid Stormtrooper Han, Farm Boy Luke, and Old Ben. And again, to do that, unlock Palpatine and Thrawn, you need a Rebel team and a Phoenix team, which Phoenix count as both Phoenix and Rebel. So using one team to get both just kind of saves efficiency. We're also looking at doing a Rebel fleet, and since they power the Ghost and the Phantom, that's kind of where we decided to go. That's not necessarily to say it's the best way. You have people who say it is the First Order is the best way to go. Geonosians are the best way to go. Neither one are technically incorrect. At the end of the day, you play the game how you want to play the game. It's also worth noting that we did not buy the Hyperdrive bundle. We're doing this not necessarily free to play, but we're only picking up value that furthers our goal. And we don't really need to buy the Hyperdrive bundle to do that right now. The other part of this is to show a new free-to-play player who's coming into the game a process that they can follow to become GAC competitive in their Division 11, which we will be getting into shortly after we hit level 85. Right now we're sitting at about level 87, I believe. I'm just looking over the other screen, which is what I have BlueStacks on. Yeah, we're sitting at level 80 or 67. And that means we've unlocked ships, we've unlocked guild events, and that brings us into another good part about week 1. Because you're going to be farming Phoenix Squad up to 7 stars, part of your goal for week 1, or even before you start the account, should be making sure you have a good guild to go into. Now for me, I got lucky. Our alliance had a slot open. The guild leader was more than happy to take me because I was going to get my 600 tickets. And I told them that's fantastic. I've been getting my 600 tickets before I got my first 7-star, and they've been awesome. So now we're doing all the raids other than the challenge tier Rancor with the guild. We can do territory battles, we can do territory wars, we can start getting that Get 1 saved up. And that's going to accelerate us through the early game towards our prospects. Now I don't know if we're going to save the Get 1. The Get 2 is probably going to go towards either the Malevolence or the Negotiator. And we'll make that decision a little bit further down the line as it comes. My guild is doing GOTB, so we'll probably stock up Get 2 for a little while and figure out what we're going to do. But Get 1, we're either going to pour into Wampa, because that's going to be a good counter for the Phoenix Squadron, or we'll pump it into getting our characters ready for CLS faster. But that is coming up in weeks 5, and we're getting ahead of ourselves. So in week 1, again, you're going to find a good guild. You should unlock the squad arena, and there is a Discord server that has when new shards are available. I will put that in the show notes for this. I'll put a link into Discord for them. And again, with that guild, if you get high power allies, it doesn't necessarily need to be from your guild. If you can get like good alliance members, or if you look in many Discord servers, they have a new player help where they have their ally codes. You punch them in, request an ally request, and they'll accept you. And then as you get more allies, that means the longer you are going to be able to clear nodes, and that is the most important part of this. So our week 1 farms consisted pretty simply of Cantina nodes being Hera and Ezra. There really wasn't another starting point for us. We did unlock Kylo Ren Unmasked and the TIE Silencer, but that was like in day 1 and day 2, and then we pivoted to Phoenix. And then within the first week and a half, we had Hera and Ezra to 7 stars. And as you farm Hera and Ezra, you'll get Cantina tokens to spend on Chopper and the guild or the Cantina shipments. If you come into that new shard, whenever you hit level 28 and hit Arena, you'll start farming Kanan. And then as you do the dark side nodes, which does require you to activate, I believe, Royal Guard and Talia, so that you can get access to them, you'll end up with Sabine, and being able to farm Sabine. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you Sabine's not worth the effort because she takes longer than the other 6 or the other 5 to farm. Start farming Sabine now, because eventually you are going to want to transfer Ezra out of the Phoenix Squadron and into the Jedi Squadron with Bastila Shan, who is going to be the next character I recommend to start farming as soon as you get her node unlocked. The reason for that is Ezra is a much more powerful character, and Sabine can easily take his role as damage dealer. And then you still have a working Phoenix team for GACs. Again, so the next person I'd suggest farming is Bastila Shan. She is going to be needed for Revan, she's going to be needed for Yoda, and she makes a very good Jedi leader until you get Jedi Revan. The next person I'd farm is Jedi Anakin, and there's a 2-part step to that. He's going to be very good under Bastila until you get to farming Galactic Republic, and his ship. His ship is on the first set of fleet nodes that unlock at level 60. By the time you unlock him, you should be farming the ship anyway, and it'll give you just that much more power going in. If there's one other person I'd farm, I would say until you can unlock farming the TIE Bomber, I would farm the Vandor Chewbacca node. The only reason I say Vandor Chewbacca, and I don't even have Vandor Chewbacca unlocked, is because the Smugglers Run events will show up. You will want smugglers to unlock and get mod material. Now mods is a very tricky subject to approach, but trust me when I say you're going to want to invest in mods. You won't be able to invest in them heavily in the beginning, but as the rest of the game goes on, you will want to be able to get resources for mods. The team you'll probably look at in week 2 is going to be, once you finish farming Chopper, Kanan, and Zeb. You should unlock Zeb in week 2. I don't have an infographic for this one. I will kind of show you guys where I ended up with, because I only had time to make one for week 1 right now. You should unlock Galactic War. You'll start farming Zeb. As you finish up Chopper, Kanan, and you get access to guild tokens through guild events, you'll want to start looking at bounty hunters. That being Boba Fett. You can get Dengar from you can get Boba Fett from the Cantina shipments. You'll get Dengar from the guild shipments. IG-88 and Cad Bane you'll get from Arena and Galactic War, respectively. Now, the reason I'm mentioning those 4 particular is you're not really looking at anything else in the guild shipments yet. Well, that's not true. There are a lot of things you should be looking at in the guild shipments, but Dengar, opening them up for credit heist and training droid smuggling. Dengar is a very good ally to have. Boba is a very good leader until you get Bosk or Jango unlocked later on. And also, Boba, Cad, and IG both have ships. And you need those 3 ships, the Slave One, the Xanadu Blood, and the IG-2000, along with the Houndstooth, to unlock the Millennium Falcon later on. And since our end goal is Commander Luke, we're looking at the Millennium Falcon as well to bolster our Rebel fleet. So here, now that we've talked about that, you can kind of see the roadmap. You have our 6 Phoenix members right here. They will unlock Thrawn and Palpatine. And I do hope you guys will forgive me for my not great Photoshop skills. This was not my forte. I didn't know how I wanted to do lines. I couldn't find a line. I made do with what I had access to. And by farming the Empire team, along with Vader, who you'll get through achievements, and TIE Pilot, who took over as my main Cantina farm after I finished Hera and Ezra, and Grand Moff Tarkin, who I haven't gotten to 5 stars yet. I'm thinking about putting him just ahead of Leia and Han, and maybe farming him as we finish like ships and guild events out of the guild events tokens. They are going to get us R2. Now R2, along with again Farm Boy and Old Ben, plus Stormtrooper Han and Leia, unlock us Commander Luke Skywalker, who is our end goal for Phase 1. Now, we don't just having Commander Luke Skywalker doesn't necessarily get us across the goal line. We want a team around him that will get us high rewards in Squad Arena and GAC. And to do that, we're going to be looking at getting Raid Han, which my guild is doing the Sims on the pit. So I'm getting 10 shards every time they do that. We're getting closer to, let's see where we're at before we come back to the roadmap. Where are we at for Raid Han? So I am at 80 out of 145 so far. And honestly, by the time we get to Commander Luke, we should have Han unlocked probably pretty close to 7 stars, if not already at 7 stars. The next character we want to look at... Oops, that's not the right one. The next character we want to go with is Chewbacca. And because we're forming bounty hunters for our credit heist and training droid smuggling, we might as well just get them ready to go for Chewbacca. Now, Chewbacca is a very difficult event. I would highly recommend farming Bosk. You're already going to want to do that for the Millennium Falcon, but farming Houndstooth will get you Jango as well. And then from there, you can move Jango in, probably into IG-88 slot, because IG-88 is not very tanky, whereas Cad Bane at least has the stun. And then you will have 2 very viable, or actually 3 very viable bounty hunter leads that'll be good in the early game of your Grand Arena. The next person we're looking at is the Golden God C3PO. He requires Ewoks, so we're looking at Logray and Pabloo from the Guild Event store. Obviously, Dengar is still the priority, but if we see Logray and Pabloo, we're picking those up as well. Same with Ewok Elder until we get the ability to farm his Cantina node. I'm sorry, Chirpa is the Cantina node. I don't know if Elder is on a Cantina node, but you'll also end up getting him from Bronziums, as you can. Wicked is kind of the outlier. He is on I think it's an 8 or a 20 node. No, I'm sorry. He's either on a tier 8, and I think it's a 20 node. I'm not going to look for that right now. Well, actually, you know what? Why not? We're doing it live. As live as a recording can be. Yeah, he is on A1 of the dark side hard nodes. So, getting to him early might not be a possibility. You should get shards of Ewok Scout and Tebow. If your guild is not doing a pit raid, or is not doing a sim on the pit raid, say you couldn't find a guild, or you find a guild who's currently doing the pit raid, putting investment in Tebow is not necessarily a bad idea. It will not serve you long term in the PvP aspect, and he will eventually be outclassed by our Commander Luke. But if that's what you got to do to get unlock C3PO, that's what you got to do to unlock C3PO. But these are the 5 Ewoks I would look at. And throughout all of this, by farming Ezra and Kanan, we have an old Ben who will need for CLS, and by farming Anakin and Bastila, who will be the easiest ones to get to immediately. You might get to Jolee. I would stick with these ones, and then as you phase them out, start looking at Jolee, TIE Bomber, or if you buy the refreshes, if you get enough crystals, look at Jolee, TIE Bomber, IG-2000 starts in the Dark Side 5. But those will unlock Grandmaster Yoda, who we can use with Bastila, Ezra, Old Ben, and Anakin. And that will give us 6 teams right off the bat. We're probably going to go for 8. We're going to build up our Rebel fleet, which means we're looking at Akbar. So that'll have Leia, Farm Boy, and Stormtrooper Han will have a home, as well as Biggs, who we're starting to farm for Biggs' X-Wing. You'll have a second fleet with Tarkin, Vader, TIE Pilot, and by farming the TIE Bomber, you'll have a pretty good 3-ship fleet that you'll be able to reinforce with other ships down the road. And by farming our Rebel fleet, we're also putting energy into getting the Chimera, which is the only legendary capital ship. It's kind of outpaced by a lot of the other ships later on, but in the early game, because it has its ultimate that can instantly destroy a ship and re-heal a character, if you can't take out the Chimera early, it becomes a very large problem. And knowing that is half the battle, and being able to plan to get ships that are going to be detrimental to the early game for our opponents once we start getting to GAC is going to be honestly the bread and butter of winning in Division 11. So let's go ahead and go back to my roster, and we will take a look at what the progress I've made so far. So we are in week 5, and I will be recording probably my Galactic Wars as well as different events we're going to do, and put them into a weekly video series that I will be working to collaborate with Shattered Order's Goodnight Punk. He also started an alt account called Squidfall. He and I were in the same guild until he decided to hang out, get other gear while he was getting his 7 stars. Don't blame him. He is taking the first order approach while we work on getting our Phoenix squadrons ready to go. But let's take a look here. So as you guys can see, we have Zeb, Hera, Ezra, Chopper, and I didn't even see Kanan there. I had 7 stars. Kanan and Zeb are at gear 8. Hera, Ezra, and Chopper at gear 7. Once they get to gear 8, we're going to stop having them be our priority focus and start looking at Empire and bringing them up to gear 8 at least. Now that means we're going to be taking Emperor Palpatine, which we have at 7 stars now. Grand Admiral Thrawn, who is at 5. We have Vader, Tarkin, and TIE Pilot, who is up here at gear 7. Once they're done, we're going to start looking probably towards the Jedi. We are already 12 out of 30 on Bastila, so she's going for her 4th star. Our Biggs, once we get credits, will be at 6 stars. We're working on unlocking his... Once he's done, we will work towards unlocking his X-Wing. We'll look at working towards getting Ahsoka's ship unlocked. And then we'll go back and bring his X-Wing up to 7 stars to match with the rest of our Rebel fleet, while we work towards TIE Fighter as well. And then from the fleet shipments, we'll be working this way. So again, we're looking at Biggs's X-Wing, we're looking at the Imperial TIE Bomber, we're farming the TIE Advanced whenever it shows up in the fleet store. Cassian's U-Wing will eventually be a priority for us. It is not currently, but it will be shortly. And the same thing with Baston's U-Wing. And this is kind of a controversial point that I haven't really decided yet, is if we go for the Baston's U-Wing early, it might be in our best interest to farm Amon Mothma, because that'll give us a Rebel Fighters team. And the 2 teams that I want to look at in phase... Actually, there's quite a few teams I want to look at in phase 2. But in phase 2, once we get to 85, we're looking at divisions, probably 10. We're going to, when we get all these guys geared up to where we want them at for the end of phase 1, we're going to be looking at Mon Mothma to start a turn-metered Rebel fighter team. Same thing with Imperial Troopers. We're going to be looking at Piet, Death Trooper, Range Trooper, Sark, and Veers. None of them really have a ship other than the TIE Reaper, but we're not really focused on the TIE Reaper. We want the turn meter part of it out of there. The other turn meter team we'll be looking at is a Grievous team with Newt. The only issue is going to be getting ourselves to the hard node for the fleet, because we do need B1. But once we start farming B1 in Shaak Ti, that will also alter our plan. Our ultimate goal for phase 2 is going to be to start unlocking Malak and Gas. And once those guys are done, we will be in good position to not only assist our guild, but also we should be able to push through our GACs relatively well. Now, the modding part of this is where things get tricky. We're going to be looking at going by team, getting our mods organized, and just getting them good to go. We did not get into another fleet battle. We probably could have gone a little bit higher, but we did end up with 1,200 fleet currency today, which is very good. That gets us 3 shipments out of the fleet store. I think that's all we have for the first 4 weeks. Again, I will be doing a video series every Monday. We'll show you guys where we were last at, and then show you what our plan for the week is to help guide you guys as you build up your Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes squads. Alright guys, we will catch you in the next video. If you guys want to see the weekly updates for it, you guys can check us out on Twitch. After we do our main accounts, GACs, and territory battles, we hop on over to the alt account. We do all the Galactic Wars, as well as any events that are open and active. That's Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, we'll see you on the Holotables.